it just shows how small the margins are between win and loss for this Patriots team, or just success or failure. The defense did its part. Jacoby Brissett stepped up and did his part as well. And that's what Alex Van Pelt cited, of like, he knows what it takes to get out of certain situations. Could they have won with Drake May? Maybe. I wouldn't completely write that off. He's faster. He's more athletic, has a better arm. But Jacoby Brissett went out there, ran the system, switched calls at the line as well, and knew what to do to set up this offense for success. And what it does too, it buys time for the Patriots, less pressure to get Jacoby Brissett out of there and Drake May in, because they won a game. Maybe they win two, hosting the Seahawks. We'll see how that game goes. But that's where it goes. And Gerard Mayo was asked about that as well. Does this give you more confidence in Jacoby Brissett? He said, yeah. And they were like, well, what about Drake May? And he said, look, I spoke to Jacoby Brissett. I spoke to Drake May. I spoke to both of them together. I spoke to the entire team. He's like, I'm being a transparent head coach. Nothing has changed. They still plan to move forward, what it sounds like, with Jacoby Brissett as their starter. This is a foundational year no matter what. And as Gerard Mayo did say, where he defines a successful season, being competitive, improving game by game, we'll see if they improve from week 1 to week 2, week 2 to week 3. It's a daunting, tough schedule, but it's just cool to see, and it's good to see these quotes coming out from a rookie head coach who I've been hypercritical of, an entire football situation with the New England Patriots that, again, I have been hypercritical of, but they go out, they prove it wrong, and they just played winning, smart football, disciplined football, tough football, and they outlasted the Cincinnati Bengals. If you could just simply outlast teams, part of that is how you win in the NFL, because eventually your opponent will do something that will cause them to lose instead of you needing to go out and steal the game. And that's all they did. One more quote I liked from coming out too. Ramondre Stevenson, Gerard Mayo saying, he didn't want to leave the game. And he said that's the start of something special. He breathed belief into Jacoby Brissett by saying, hey, dude, you're going to win this game. And he's breathing belief into these players like Ramondre Stevenson. When they gave him that extension, he said, he's like, we think you'll be one of the best backs in the game. And Ramondre Stevenson went out and proved that. And you just hear the way he talks about these guys, even after the game, after he had time to watch film and just digest it all, Colin, of how much belief that he has in these guys, the confidence they have to win. And just also, this is what goes through an entire locker room and leads to success. When a head coach instills confidence like this, it helps the players. Yeah, they don't have one of the best rosters in the NFL, but part of that is going out, playing hard, and having the confidence you can execute. You mess around, they'll win some games they're not supposed to, like they did in week 1.
Yeah, real quick on Ramondre Stevenson, George. I agree with you. And when we broke down this matchup last week, we were like, Jacoby Brissett's got to manage this one, and your offensive superhero, Ramondre Stevenson, has to show up and show out. And that's exactly what happened. Stevenson might have had his best and most efficient running back specific game that he's had in his entire NFL career. And I was breaking down the stats of this earlier today, and I found it so interesting. Ramondre Stevenson faced a stacked box of 8 or more, 24% of the time, which is in the higher percentile of percentages in the NFL in week 1. And he still had 8 runs of 5 or more yards, 4 runs of 10 or more yards, and consistently, even with those stacked fronts, the Patriots offensive line was opening up just enough room for him that he made that first man miss a very high percentage of the time. He broke the most tackles of any running back in the NFL in week 1. That's Ramondre Stevenson getting 20 plus carries. I think it was 25 total carries, getting over 100 yards. And that's exactly what this Patriots team needs to do. Yes, it was a banged up defensive line and a defensive front for Cincinnati. It's not going to be that easy, especially in week 4 when they go to San Francisco and matchups like that. But this is a blueprint for the New England Patriots. And I think the passing game is going to get a little bit better. They're working with younger wide receivers. You're going to get Hunter Henry more integrated into this offense going forward. So the offense is going to keep taking steps up, I do believe, even with Jacoby Brissett under center. Ramondre Stevenson's just getting better and better. Those broken tackle metrics that he had in week 1 are better than he had last season, and that's facing more stacked boxes than he did last year. So Stevenson's going to be as good, if not better, than last year, and that's exactly what you need. Every single time you touch the football, George, I saw burst, I saw electricity, and I saw, grinding power running, and that's exactly what the Patriots needed and wanted from him.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they want from him. We can't, How bad the offensive line situation was the last 2 seasons. Like, Matt Patricia led that group 2 years ago. Like, he had no business doing anything to coach the offensive side of the ball. Come in again last season, different terminology. And Bill O'Brien with one hand tied behind his back. Adrian Clem dealing with health issues as well. Like, it's been such, just so much mess going on for Scott Peters and Alex Van Pelt to at least get this group to execute like they did, and getting creative, bringing in Caden Wallace as a jumbo tight end. Like, that's what they need. And Ramondre Stevenson, he had that burst. Let's see him put it together, because that's a guy where his legs kind of get away from him when it comes to December and on. But let's see if he could piece it together for 17 games. They need that. They need that so bad. Colin, let's look forward a little bit. They have Seattle this week, but more importantly, do you buy in that this is a Patriots team that can be competitive, can be an improvement? And I guess the buy-in has to be where you don't think they're going to be the worst team in the NFL, because that's what Vegas says with that win total, and that's what this roster looks like right now at the talent level.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be the worst team in the NFL, because I saw the Carolina Panthers this past Sunday against New Orleans. And okay, I think you got to attack this question a couple of ways. Do I think they're going to be a playoff team? Probably not. Do I think they're going to be a 7-8 win team? I could see that happening. A lot of things have to break their way for that to be the case. I probably think it's going to be 5 to 6 victories, but you're going to see the bones of what this Patriots team wants to be throughout this season. And you and I have talked about this before throughout this entire summer, is that this season is to see the process work in real game action. We saw that here in week 1. And when I say a lot of things have to go the Patriots' way, T. Higgins not being in and Jamar Chase being limited is an example of things going the Patriots' way. The defensive line being banged up, Joe Burrow not being 100%. That's an example of things bouncing in favor of the Patriots. Is that going to happen the entire season? No, it's not. And when they play Miami, when they play Buffalo, are they going to go in and control the clock, run the ball down Buffalo's throats, and limit a Tyreek Hill or a Keon Coleman on Buffalo to small games like they did to Jamar Chase? No, it's not going to happen. They're not going to be a playoff team this season. I do think they are going to show flashes of what this system can be. And the most important thing is I think we're going to see Gerard Mayo be one of the better coaches in the AFC this season. I really, really liked what I saw. The adjustments, the defense here in week 1. Obviously, I'm wearing rose-colored glasses here because of this win against Cincinnati, but the process, I think, is going to keep building forward. It's going to keep taking steps up. And when you're in a rebuild, when you're working, with a rookie quarterback in the wings who is supposed to take the keys to this franchise, taking a step, being better the next day than you were the past day is all you really want to see. This Patriots team is going to enter every single game with a chip on their shoulder. I love it. This team's going to go out hungry for blood every single week. I love it, because that's what Gerard Mayo is instilling in this group. I think at the very, very least, George, this is going to be a fun season. And that's not something that we said about this Patriots team over the past 3 years.
Yeah, I need to see more than one game before I buy in anything on this. Just like if it was a player, you need more than one season you want to buy in and have belief before you pay them. I need to see more than one game. And just think of the schedule they have coming up. Like the Seahawks, they went out and it was a weird, wonky game at home, but they found a way to beat the Broncos. And they gave up 2 safeties to the Broncos. And now there was a Bo Nix on the opposite side of them that just showed no competency to be playing in the NFL right now. But that's a Boy Mafi and Leonard Williams on that defensive line. That is a good passing attack they'll face. Geno Smith is a serviceable starting quarterback. You would say he's better than Jacoby Brissett. Like, there's a test. Then they get to the Jets. It's Quinnen Williams, one of the best defensive linemen in the NFL, and that's a top 3 defense. Then they get to the Niners. So I just want to see a test by test and go in before I buy in. But I buy in that they know what they have to do to win. They're not trying to be something they're not. They look at their roster, they go, we're going to run the ball plenty of times. Gerard Mayo said that again. He goes, I'm not giving away a game plan. I don't care. We're going to run the ball, stop us, because that's what you have to do. They know they have to run the ball heavy. They know what they have to do personnel-wise to make that happen. They're not afraid middle of a series to take out their left tackle and put in a backup because their starter looked terrible. Like, they're not afraid to adjust on the fly to just do what it takes to be a competitive team. And defensively, the way Keon Coleman dominated up front, what their secondary was able to do with Kyle Duggar and Christian Gonzalez and the rest of them, to take Jamar Chase out of this game plan altogether, yeah, it works. But it's game 1. The Bengals have been historic getting off to slow starts. The Patriots came in ready to play week 1. We'll see what the other teams do it.